Salmonane, welcome to Raising Sipho Sethu. Sipho Sethu is here. It is lunchtime. Kodwa akafuna ukudla. Angazi mhlambe ufuna ukuluzisha weight. Say hi, Sipho. But it's not about lunch today. I want to tell a story. But I think the reason I'm going to be giving her juice. I don't know. I don't feel really okay with showing her feeding and stuff. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out, okay? Sometimes I feel like it's just her private time. Especially because at her age, we're not really supposed to be feeding her. But at the same time, I feel like maybe there are other parents that would like to see how I do it. So as soon as I get comfortable, I did show a little bit in one of our vlogs. But I don't know, I haven't been comfortable enough to show the whole process. When I am, I will show you guys how I feed Sipho Sethu. And yeah, usually I just feel like I want to give a privacy when it comes to that. But we were having spicy rice with chicken strips from Petrus, the franchise that is killing Nando's, and it was... Why I like this just because it's not too sweet. It's like it kind of. It feels like it. It's like it could aid. It could aid which is by bees and get jab. So I'm trying to not give her into a too sweet. And yeah, and also it's the only juice she likes. Actually, most juices she doesn't like. When we try and change it, she doesn't like it. So you guys, listen. I want to share this story because I think that maybe someone can learn from can relate, not learn really, can relate to my experience, and also share your experience when it comes to issues of trusting. I think she's saying issues of trusting males or trusting men or trusting the male species. Because when was your first experience when you realized, when was it when you realized that hey, men are not okay? Men cannot be trusted, okay? How old were you? What happened? Who hurt you? Okay. So I want to share my experience. Listen, I had to do this reflection really honestly when my daughter was like in the preteen age, and I was starting to feel uncomfortable with certain friends that she would have. This one time she asked me a question and said, "Mom, why do you not like boys? Why do you not like boys?" And you know when kids are younger, you guys, they become friends. Like kids when they're young and they're the same age, they become friends, whether it's boys or girls. I think when they become teenagers, that's when they start like, oh, my friends are like my girls, and then and then the boys stick with the boys, and then you will find a friend of an opposite sex here and there. But when kids are younger, they would just be playing together, whether they're not really conscious of the fact that it's a different sex. Okay, so she asked me that question, and I don't know how I structured my answer, but I remember saying something like, I just want you to learn to be careful around friends. Just because someone says that they're your friends doesn't mean that they're your friends. And sometimes you think someone is your friend and they would betray you and do something to you. And then she said to me, but that can happen even with girls. Why do you have an issue with just boys? And I was like, yeah, she's right. It can happen with girls too. And it made me think a lot about it, and I have a lot of issues with trusting men. The other day I was at the salon and I walked in, and that's where I cut my hair. So mostly there it's barbers, but there is a lady that does like braids and all that. So I walked in, it was in the afternoon, maybe around 4 or 5, and I walked in and there was like, I don't know, maybe 8 clients there, maybe 5 barbers. I walked in to talk to the guy that cuts my hair, and then I sat down to wait because he was still cutting somebody else's hair. And then after like a minute, I walked out, and he's like, "Why are you going? Just wait, I'm about to be done." And I'm like, "No, I'm coming back." Went to the car, got the driver of the car. I got my driver to come. By the driver, you know my resident driver. Yes. So I got it. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, kucela amadoda wodwa laphaya la ke ngihlale. So he already knows my issue. So he was like, oh, okay. So he packed the car, came to because he thought I was just gonna cut my hair and then we're going. So he came in with me, sat with me. I cut my hair. Otherwise, I was like, even in a taxi, guys. I once got in a taxi, and then a minute later, I'm looking around. I'm like, conductor, out. And then the conductor and the driver was like, you just got on there. I'm like, yes, but there's only men in this taxi. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna get women on the way. I'm like, honey, I am not getting in that. Everyone was like, yeah, that's my issue. But I'm trying to indicate that it's not something that is an issue only in my relationship. It's an issue also just in life. But this is how it has affected my relationship. Let's say we're crossing the road. We're crossing the road to the other side. I live in South Africa. Okay, so we drive on the left side of the road. And so if you're crossing the road, the cars are going to come this way from this side. And if I'm with my partner, he's going to want to be on this side of the road when we are crossing the road, because obviously he's trying to be a gentleman, to be the one that is on the watch with the car. That gives me anxiety because, yes, I understand that he wants to be protective, be the one that sees the cars. And I know, absolutely 100% know that he will not put my life in danger. But the fact that I cannot see for myself for sure that there isn't any cars coming gives me such anxiety. I am not going to cross that road. And earlier on in our relationship, it was such an issue. Why do you know? If I say, let's cross the road, obviously there's no cars coming. And I'll be like, I know, but I can't do it. It's just something in me. I can't cross the road just because you say we must cross the road. I have to see it for myself. So even when he does that, a lot of the times I'm going to make sure I look. And then if I'm not sure and he crosses the road, then I'm pulling my hand away from him, and then he will cross, and then I will wait to look for myself. That is how bad it is, okay? Because I don't trust. Deep down, I don't trust that even though I know that he's not going to put me in danger. But this is where this whole thing comes from. When I was a child, I can't remember how old I was, but at home, there was this family that was our neighbors, but also they had the same surname as ours, which in Zulu, when someone has the same surname as yours, that's your family. They ended up being like our family. They had moved in the area. Not really sure where they had come from, but they were like family. Even to this day now, they are family. They're like family. And also the couple was as old. They could be my grandmother and grandfather, And my mom and dad ended up calling them mom and dad. So they were like my mom and dad's mom and dad. And then their kids were like our uncles, because we were younger than them. So, but at home we did not have boys. So every time that my mother needed people to work in the yard, blocks and all of that, she would get them to come and help. Vice versa, because they didn't have girls, bona, when they needed whatever, then we would go and help them. So to this day, they're like family. But there was a boy that had come also to stay with them. That was the same age as the boys from there. So when he came to stay with that family, he was taken as a family, even though he did not but he lived with the family. Mosemakai, everybody's family. So those boys, now that I think about it, at this age, I think honestly they were teenagers, because they were in high school. Being a child at the time, to me, and also we called them obaba because my mother called their father and mother mom and dad. So they called my mother Usisi, and they called my father Uput. So me, they were uncles, But now that I think of it, they were not that old. They were really teenagers, and they were in high school. So this one time, they were working in the yard with the wheelbarrow, and all of that. And us as kids, we were playing here. I think my cousin was there as well. And some kids from the neighbors that we went to school with, same age as us, we were playing in the yard. And then some of the kids asked to get in the wheelbarrow. That boy that I'm talking about who came to stay with the family was the one that was using the wheelbarrow. And then the kids asked to get in the wheelbarrow. Okay, I think he took like one kid and then he took the second one. They had fun, they were laughing, he was laughing, they were laughing, they were having so much fun. Usually I was scared to get in the wheelbarrow. I was scared to get in the wheelbarrow, but I saw how much fun they had, they were having while they were in. And they so I asked too. When they got off, I asked, can I get in too? So when I asked, he says no. Okay. And I can't say for sure that the other kids that had got in were boys, but I remember feeling like he didn't want me to get in because I was a girl, But nonetheless, I asked, what, mom? No, I want to get into. So with irritation, he says, no, just get in. Which should have told me, was okay, this is not a good idea, don't get in, but I did. Okay, so Palen, you don't really get inside, like this is the front of the wheelbarrow, the person driving the wheelbarrow is that side with the hangers. You will get in on top of the area, where the wheel is, the top part of the wheel. You will sit there, sorry, mama, and then you will hold like this, and then your feet will be somewhere on the sides of the wheel. Yes. So then I got in like that, and then I don't know if I turned to look at him before he started running or what, but I remember immediately before he started running feeling like I'm about to die because of the look in his face. But I don't know how I saw the look in his face, because I was facing that way and he was facing that way. So he starts running, and ekhaya umuzi wasekhaya on kuthiwani awukho entabeni, but there's a road ekhaya at the bottom, and then when you get off here in a taxi you go up, and then umuzi wasekhaya is there, but not really on the top of the hill, but in the middle of the hill somewhere. So ekhaya igceke where the yard ends, indawo iyawa, so like the yard ends here, iyawa ileyo ndawo leyo. So he's running around. There was a rondeville at home, so he was running with the wheelbarrow. He was running around the rondeville. So he's running around it in full speed, Okay. So I remember thinking, I am about to die here, and I think I asked him, please stop, angisafuni, ngifuna ukwedla, and he wouldn't, and he was laughing, and he's running full speed. Guys, obviously it's a human being that is running here, so he could only run so fast, So had I been an adult, I would have just waited for him to get tired, because eventually he was going to get tired and and stop. But as a child, I felt like I was about to die, and the only way that I was gonna live was to get off that wheelbarrow. So I decided to jump. Remember how I'm sitting? So now I need to jump. Now he's going around the wheelbarrow. So there's only two, because I can't jump straight, because if I jump straight like this, then the wheelbarrow is going to go over me. If I jump this side, even though there was enough space, because it's kind of cool. So if I jump this way, it would have gone, I would have gone maybe that would have been better, because and go this way. But I decided the safer part, being a child, was to jump this side, which was on the wall of the house, basically, of the rondeville. So I jumped while he was running full speed like that, and then I jumped, and I just remember my head hitting the wall, and it became numb. And then I started feeling the worst pain that I have ever felt, and I started crying. And then he stops the wheelbarrow, and then everybody, I think people, baby babas, what happened? Because people were busy, and I remember being so confused as a child, because laughing like he has never seen the funniest thing. And he kept asking, "Why did you get off? Why did you get off?" And I was so confused as a child. And I think adults were not paying enough attention to see that I could have been injured because I wasn't bleeding anyway. When they were asking what happened, they're saying, "Oh, ile baleni," and maybe they're not seeing that maybe I'm bleeding. I don't think that I was swollen anyway, but I was feeling so much pain. But the physical pain was not as much as the the pain in my heart, because it's like, why are you laughing when I just, because in my opinion I almost died. So I'm like, why are you laughing when I almost died, you know? So that was my experience. He laughs, and that's it. I'm like, yo, this is weird. Remember, this is somebody that I regarded as like, he could have been my brother because of the age, but really he was an uncle. And I don't have a lot of experiences with the males, and I'm like, is this how guys are like? You know, someone can just almost kill you, and they will laugh at you. But that passed. Later on in my life, maybe a few years later, I was at one of my relatives' house that I stayed at for a short time. And this male my had a father role in my life, because obviously my father was no longer living. But I don't want to explain too much who he is, so that if should people that know the family would know who that is. Maybe it might not sound, you know. But this one, it would have been, so the first experience was with somebody that is younger in age. This one could have been my father in terms of age, you know. And in that position he was in that house that we were at, he was supposed to be a father to me. In fact, we did call him father. And so someone was cooking porridge in the kitchen. He used to have a very weird sense of humor. Like, even as a child, I remember just the things that he would joke about, thinking, So someone was cooking porridge. So, you know, like when you cook porridge, once it boils, you're not supposed to touch it. You're not supposed to open the lid. You're not supposed to stir. When you cook porridge, you stir and stir and stir. When it starts boiling, you close the pot, you leave it. But he said to me, so when it partially happened, and I said, I don't know, someone is cooking porridge. And then he said, you know, when it does this, you are supposed to stir it. He said that to me. And I had remembered that at school, I think it was standard 2 or something. Standard 2 is great for you youngins. A teacher had come, Umempewa had come with ingredients to cook porridge, to show us how to cook porridge, you know. When we were at school, teachers would do random things like that. I think sometimes the teacher, when maybe she was feeling like a lot of the kids are coming to school hungry, and she thought, let me just teach them to make porridge, because one thing about our families in rural areas, they're going to have impoop, you know. Maybe she thought, you know what, if I teach them to cook porridge, you know, they can make it themselves at home, and then they can eat in the morning. Then I don't have to have these sleepy kids here that are hungry while I'm teaching. So she had taught us, came with some plates, we cooked porridge, showed us. And I remember her emphasizing, once it starts boiling, do not touch it. Well, we did not say it in English because we did not learn English that early, okay? Maselibhadla ungalithinti, uyalivala bese uyalinda 5 minutes bese liyavuthwa, you know. So I don't know, and I was like, no, but you're not supposed to stir it, and she's like, no, you're supposed to. Remember, I'm not used to it because my father passed away when I was very young, so I'm not used to relating to a male figure, especially a male figure that is in, like, that is the father figure. All I know is that you respect, you have to be respectful, you listen to them, because I'm thinking they're supposed to keep you safe, okay? But so I'm confused, and it's like, no, you have to stay it when it's like this. So I take a spoon and I attempt to stay. As much as I knew you're not supposed to do it, but he is saying it's safe to do it, so I stay. And just when I put my hand on it, porridge and it bent me. And guess what he did? He laughed hysterically. Okay? the person that was cooking the porridge is asking on the other side, what's happening there? And she's like, she tried to stir the porridge while libala. He says that, and she says, no, I'll go the porridge. It was only my life. I'm like, but I said that. No, I'm not really crying because, Gishil. I'm crying because, you know, so those were my two experiences, guys, that in trying to figure out, in raising my kids and trying to figure out why I was having distrust in men or in interacting with men, why I was the way that I was, and also to be able to understand that those were my experiences, but it's not necessarily going to be my children's experiences. But I also, as much as those experiences were really, really painful, I feel like there are situations in my life where I feel like those two situations saved me. Because I have two other situations that happened in my life that when I think about it as an adult now, I think the reason I had when you have a feeling that I'm not safe here and you are still young, but you just have that feeling. I felt like it came from that situation in these other two situations. And I feel like had I not had that experience, but I would have still been trusting when it came to men. But because I wasn't trusting men, I was able to get myself out of these two situations, which when I look back now, I think those were not safe situations. You were right to walk away. You were right to run. And I feel like those two situations helped me here. But I feel like as an adult, it affects me. I don't trust men at all. Okay. But and I feel like I have had to understand that and accept that about myself. And sometimes I have to remind my partner, like when I ask to, and he said, like, let's say, even when he is driving and I'm like, hey, yes, got that. I feel like we are kitchen. Maybe like, hi, I'm kitchen. Buga, I'm driving. Buga, I'm driving 120. He has learned that he has to assure me. He'll be like, no, book alone. It's speed is right and right. And we're like, oh, okay. Because he is driving. So I think it helped me to remember those situations to understand that sometimes I am unreasonable in my distrust. But as much as they were painful experience, I don't 100% regret them because they have saved me from situations. Because I learned with vele that speech you can't. It's part. Some of them you can't really trust them. Anyway, you guys, I just wanted to share this experience. I don't know if it's gonna help anybody, but maybe it's gonna remind you of your experience. Please share in the comment section. When was it that you realized ukuthi ikhona into off ngamadoda? Khona off ngalabantu. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Well, Sipho was here too. She still hasn't eaten. Let me try and feed Sipho because akafuna ukudla. Or maybe I'll have to make her something else. She just does not want this rice here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like our video. Sizokubona on the next one.